Mikel, thank you for coming to talk to us. How tough is this one to take?
Yeah, we are devastated, really disappointed. But we have to congratulate Villarreal. They are in the final. We tried everything up to the last minute. I think over 2 legs, and what happened today in the second half, I think we deserve to win the game. But the details defined these ties. And when we had the opportunities, we didn't score. We hit the post twice. We have 3 big chances. They didn't have anything, but they are through. And for me, it's very important. In the last defining moment, you should have everything available at their best. And so many things happened to us, and so many players just trying to be able to be competing, but not at their best, and that's a big disadvantage.
You came here with that lifeline of, the away goal, but your plans had to change very early with Xhaka coming off and Tierney coming on. Did that change your game plan?
It changed our game plan completely because we prepared everything with Granit in the position that gave us so much, and we could see in the first half that we were struggling with the ball, trying to do what we wanted to do. But there's no excuse, it's what it is. But again, there's so many players injured, one with malaria, one out, another one pulling out. It's too many important players that have to define the game, not at the best in the right moments.
You mentioned the second half opportunities. The first half, it felt as though the team really struggled to impose themselves on the game. It felt a little bit passive. Is that how it looked to you? Was that what may have cost you?
We were very imprecise with the ball. The process at the back, it wasn't clean, and then everything is much more difficult. Probably we were a bit tense as well, and when we changed a few things, we got better. We get more dominant in the second half. I think we were much more dominant and created enough chances, more than them, over the 2 sides, but not enough to win it.
Were you overrun in the midfield area, do you think?
Sorry?
Were you overrun in the midfield area?
I don't think so.
And up front, do you think Aubameyang had the right service, as much service as he needed?
Well, again, in the first half, probably not, because the whole process in the build-up, it wasn't good enough to get in good situation with advantage into the final third. In the second half, it was much better, but we didn't manage to score the goal that we needed.
So if it's one thing you had to sort of pinpoint, is it lack of opportunities? Is it lack of experience? Is it lack of making the most of the chances that you had? What is the one thing you would look back on now over the 2 legs?
I think it's various things. The way we started the game, Villarreal, it wasn't good enough. Set pieces, we consider set pieces that determines at the end the tie, and we talked about that. And then again, that we didn't arrive here in the best moment with everybody in top condition, like we did last year when we played semifinals and finals, to be at our best. And I think over the 2 legs we weren't at our best for that reason.
And is it the lack of experience, you say, sort of the nervousness, maybe lack of composure sometimes?
We are a really young team that for most of us, for 90% of them, it was the first semi-final of any competition, and we have to learn from that.
Yeah, Arsenal have been in European competition for the last 25 years. You've got a really big run in now in the Premier League to ensure that it goes into 26 years, don't you?
Yeah, we had last year we have to earn our way to Europe in a different way by winning the FA Cup, and this year the only way to do it now is through the Premier League, so we know what we have ahead of us.
Do you feel the pressure on yourself?
I feel the pressure all the time because I want to do as good as I can for the team, for every support that I had here, and for our fans. And today is a big disappointment because we tried everything to be in the final.
Thank you very much, Mikel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mikel Arteta saying they're devastated, but he felt they deserved to win it, Freddie. Do you agree with that, or do you feel he's trying to protect his players there a bit?
No, I like that he protects his players. I like that from a manager. But personally, I think if you look at 2 legs, I think they had 4 shots on target in both legs, and that's not good enough. They're not creating enough clear chances, and I think that's a big problem for them, and I think that's why they're out.
And Unai Emery said before the tie, Martin, that Arteta and Arsenal were a perfect marriage. Do you think it's a marriage just going through a bit of a rocky patch, or one heading for divorce?
Well, that decision needs to be made, doesn't it? You know, he's a young manager. Emery was here himself and was sacked also. Maybe he lost the players also. So it's not a given that you're going to be successful, even though you come with a big reputation. But, you know, we came with a lot of inexperience. He talked tonight about how his semi-finalist team was very youthful, didn't have a lot of experience. Well, isn't that then the reason to keep it simple, to not take big risks? If you think about last season, they played primarily with a back five. They did very well to win an FA Cup with that system. There's been too much chopping, changing this year. Young players don't pick it up quick enough. You know, that's why at the very big clubs, likes of Foden, take time to settle. So you're asking our top players to come in, the Smith Rowe Sackers, and then playing them in an array of different positions. And you're doing it in the biggest games of the season. It didn't work in these two ties, and that's where he was outsmarted by the previous manager. And that's where it becomes embarrassing for the club, for the owners. And then you look at the spotlight comes onto his position. That's it. You've got to be a quick learner as a manager. I'm not saying he's not going to stay in the job. That decision is one that will be made through the summer. But, you know, we know it's going to have to be an incredible start to the season next year if he stays in the job. He's under huge pressure now.
A 50% win percentage there. Freddie, do you feel he still has the support of the fans?
There's no fans here, so that's difficult to know. I hope he does. I'm not going to stand here and say managers should stay or should go and this and that. He's a young manager, and I hope he will stay. But of course, it's not good enough for Arsenal Football Club, and yeah, it's up to the owners and other people within the club. It's
the 10th game that they haven't scored at home this season, Martin, the worst in their history. As Freddie said, it's just not good enough, especially this season.
If we accept this and stand here as Arsenal fans and former players, then, you know, everything that's gone before hasn't been worthwhile. There's certain standards that have been set at this football club, and we're not reaching those anymore. So normally you'd expect some kind of change. Now, so is there an appetite to keep him? There was a huge appetite to bring him in, and he's very much the owner's man. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But, you know, the performances can't continue. I mean, it's the league form really, isn't it? That's going to, if he does lose his job, it's going to cost him. I know tonight we've gone out at semi-final stage. That's not the end of the world, but it is when you look at the league form. And this was going to be the rescue package, which never happened. So, you know, big decisions to be made at the football club all around at the moment.
What does this do to the pressure on the owners, which has been ramping up after the Super League debacle?
I don't know if it changes, Gronke. I don't even know if he'd have been at the final if we'd have made it there. Does this club really matter to him? You know, he's got 6 or 7 franchises of other football clubs, basketball, hockey, you name it. Does he love football enough? You know, we need somebody who really wants this club, just solely wants this club, to own it, to love it, and to take it back to where it once was. And it would be, you know, if he doesn't want that, if he doesn't want to take it on now, because now it's going to need investment, Freddie, it's going to need big investment. If he doesn't want that, he should step aside and let someone take it who does.
How much more will it hurt, Freddie, that they've gone out to Unai Emery, who won the tactical battle over the 2 legs?
Yeah, of course it will hurt if you look at people that make the decisions within the club, that he comes back and hurts you. But that's often what happens even if you sell a player to another club and you play them again and they always score. So I think they have to concentrate on their own problems and not think too much about Unai. And but if you look at Unai, the tactics here, we look on the screen, like they are pressing Arsenal, that we maybe thought Arsenal would press them and were winning the balls, and Arsenal couldn't really get out of it and couldn't get into the flow. We see here again, they're almost man-man up here, they fly out, and they make life very, very difficult for Arsenal.
Arteta's wondering why we didn't pass the ball well. We didn't pass the ball well because Villarreal came and pressed us. They dictated to us both in possession and out of possession. And we weren't able to stop them playing. They're playing right through, playing it through our midfield, Freddie, time and time again. They didn't really have, I wouldn't say they're a brilliant team, but we never really laid a glove on them. We really never tested them. But they dictated the tactics with their manager.
And Mikel Arteta spoke as well about losing Granit Xhaka in the warm-up, having to make that change just before the game, bringing in Tierney. How big a part do you think that played?
We obviously don't know what tactics he wanted to use and how much has changed the game plan, but I would imagine you would try not to change the game plan too much, just a couple of minutes before you go out. But yeah, no, of course, Granit is a great player and is a good leader in the team, so it changed a bit, but at the same time, we are Arsenal Football Club and we have to deal with it.
Let's get some more reaction now, then we can hear from the Arsenal goalkeeper. Bernd Leno has been speaking to Reshman.
Bernd, I know it's a difficult time. What is the feeling in the dressing room at the moment?
Yeah, it's very quiet. I think big disappointment because our big target was to reach the final and win the Europa League, and now this is not possible anymore.
What do you think was the difference tonight?
I think the difference, or the problem only was that we didn't take our chances. I think overall we were the better side. I think only the first half in Villarreal we played not on our level, and that was enough to beat us.
That's what Mikel Arteta said, that there's a feeling that some of the players weren't at their best. Do you feel that that's the reason?
Yeah, maybe. I think, like I said, in the first half of the first leg, I think all of us, we weren't at our best. But I think the second half in Villarreal and also today, I think we put everything inside, but yeah, it was not enough or not good enough.
You're one of the experienced players in the team. There are so many young players coming through. Do you think that was the difference today, that the young players are still catching up, or do you think that they were good enough to do it and it was just a missed opportunity?
Yes, maybe. I think in the semi-final experience is very important, and maybe in some situations you could see that, but I think this is no excuse. I think in Villarreal and also today we had more than enough chances to go through. We needed just one goal, and if it's just from a set piece or something else, doesn't matter. And I think it's too easy to say that it's just experience.
Where does it leave things for your fans? Do you have a message for them?
I think it's very hard for all of us, also for the fans. I think yeah, we're all sad. I think hopefully we can make it next season better than this season, but the season is not finished yet. We have 4 games, and we have to show, especially for our fans, that we fight for this club, that we all love this club, and this is all we can do now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
A tough night for the Arsenal players. Len was saying they fight for the club. Did you see enough fight, enough amount of desire from the players tonight, Martin?
No, not really, but I think it's a two-way thing. You know, from when you're hearing the manager say the players lack certain things and there's a certain bit of blame that goes, it's a collective, isn't it? You win together, you lose together. It's a clear picture, and I think we just made it more difficult for ourselves in this situation, semi-final. You know, last year it was perfect, wasn't it? The way that we won the semi-final against Man City in the FA Cup and then the final against Chelsea. You know, this year it just didn't happen, and it's a collective. And if we get through this, then you have to stick together to do that. The club has to make some big decisions now to decide. You saw Leno there. He's gutted. He's an Arsenal player. We feel for him. He's fronted up, you know, tried to say his piece. But at the end of the day, the team does their talking on the pitch. And tonight, it wasn't good enough.
Big changes need to happen. It's a pivotal summer. What does this do to their prospects next season and the sort of players they'll be able to attract?
Yeah, no, that's difficult. In the old days, you were like, oh yeah, Arsenal wants you. You're like, oh yeah, I want to go. It's Champions League, you're winning medals, all that. And that's gone. Now it's totally different things. They're like, okay, what's the paycheck or what is happening? And it's going to be difficult. It's not so easy when you don't play in Europe to attract the best players. And Arsenal need the best players to come in, and they need to spend some money. Because we talk a little bit here, the young players and this and that. In my opinion, if you have this great talents at Arsenal, they shouldn't be able to or have to play every game. They should be a little bit like Philip Foden at City. They come in, play 3-4 games, do great, then they can have a rest, and they can learn and look at the bigger ones. Here, they get pushed a little bit too much, and I don't think that's great for the development.
In fact, the last time they didn't qualify for Europe, they went and signed Bergkamp. Martin, what needs to happen this summer? And
David Platt, I think there was a big expenditure at that point. And then just a couple of years later, a young Arsene Wenger came to the football club. So, you know, I think they were hoping that Arteta was going to do something similar, and it felt like that for a time, certainly when he won the FA Cup. So some big decisions to make. We're licking over the wounds. We don't take any joy in it. It's always going to be our club, but we find it now in a very difficult situation. And by the way, it was never perfect. When we were coming through as kids at this football club, it kind of hit rock bottom in the 80s. And it climbed out of that, and it can do that again with the right leadership and the right planning and the right people at the top. This football club can come again and back again. It just needs the right people there right at the helm.
Do you think this is rock bottom though, Freddie? Do you think next season will be better than this season, or do you think things could get a bit lower before they start to rebuild and bounce back?
No, I hope that this is the rock bottom and we can change from here. But I think it needs investment to do that. And but it's have to stick together, like Martin said. Like here, we want Arsenal to do well. It's I've been associated with Arsenal for 20 years, so it really hurts. But I think there needs to be a change in how they invest into the club, and to change the pattern that we get worse and worse every year, that we break that cycle.